All right. Hey guys, it's Marcie. Hello, amazing, lovely everyone. And I am here with Gizmo. He is consented to be on air for just a minute here. He's kind of fighting me on it. All right. I hope everyone is having an amazing Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me today. And this is, again, Marcie Peters, America's Whole Life Coach. And this webinar is 3 ways to reconnect to your power. And it's going to be short and sweet, nothing too extended in the middle of the day here, or perhaps late in the evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. Okay, Kizzy. All right, so let's get started, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, good. So you should be seeing my slides now. So let's take a moment. Like I said, we're going to talk about ways to reconnect to your power. And I'm just going to turn on a little bit of music. And I want to go ahead and take a moment and let's join our breaths and our presence and awareness together by taking a nice deep inhale, letting the air move down through your hips into your lower body. And exhale, release. Again, inhale deeply and completely. And let it go. One more nice big inhale. And release. And I want to let you know that my intention for this webinar is to really give you some value, give you some ideas, and to provide something that you can move forward with today. And I'd like for you to set your intention now as well. And just come with an open heart, an open mind, and know that there's something here for you as well. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go back to the slides. I'm going to be switching back and forth with the slides. Okay, so just a little bit about me in case you don't know who I am. I am Marcie Peters, America's Whole Life Coach. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, health coach, and speaker and author. I'm a whole life coach, which is kind of a title you don't hear that often, but it's really about integrating body, mind, and soul and bringing it all together. And I help people not just with their health challenges, and I do specialize with that, but also to have more prosperity, better relationships, be more connected to life purpose, and especially with themselves. And I am the founder of the Health and Happiness Guide. I'm the host of Transform Your Health World Summit, which will be happening again this fall. And I have a line of nutrition products called H2 Nutrition, the Marcie Bar, protein shakes and supplements. And my work has affected thousands of people worldwide. And really, I am here to empower you and to empower others to live their best life, to live your best life and fall in love with yourself. So I don't want to use the slides too much because I want to connect with you face to face, but I want to bring up the difference between traditional power, which is not what I'm talking about in this webinar. Traditional power is all about control, authority, and influence having to do with others and circumstances, trying to control that. And what I'm talking about today in reconnecting with your power is your personal power. So this is completely different. This has everything to do with you and your control, authority, influence over yourself, and really looking at how you want to approach personal responsibility and be the creator of your life. I talk about this a lot because it's a really important topic, and it makes a huge difference in terms of how you're able to have the life that you want. Because if you are in a place of not taking that personal responsibility, then you won't be able to really be in your personal power. And that's what I want to share with you today. So let me go back to the slide for a moment. Okay, oops. That is not what I wanted. 1 second. Okay. So I chose this topic because of my experiences, and a lot of you know that I have a long history of chronic illness, and I've talked about that in interviews and different things like that. So this issue is very personal to me in terms of, you know, that feeling of powerlessness, hopelessness, helplessness. I remember at one point during my long illness, you know, really just laying in bed, and I'd been in bed for probably the best part of that whole week. And this was kind of an ongoing thing. And I just remember looking out the window and just thinking, wow, I feel like I'm in a prison. I feel like my life has become a prison, and I don't know what to do about it. And I don't want to live like this anymore. And so that was a turning point for me, and one of many, but one of the main turning points where I really got to have the opportunity. It didn't seem like an opportunity at the time, but I really had the chance to look at my situation, look at my circumstances, and see, you know, is this the life I want to be leading, irregardless of my circumstances? So personal power is actually about recognizing that it's not about changing the external, it's not about changing those circumstances, it's about changing you, because it all starts with you. So let me go back here. It's all about that relationship with yourself. And when you are in personal power, that starts to have a ripple effect. Starts to go beyond yourself. So it starts with you, it starts with that relationship with yourself, and then it starts to transform those around you. It's really powerful. So let me jump into the first thing that I want to talk about, which is the first of the 3 ways to reconnect with your power. So there's lots of ways to connect with your power. These aren't the only ways. These are the top 3 ways that I know have been really impactful in my life and made a big difference for me and also for my clients. And there's lots of others. So the first way that I'm talking about is really letting go of the guilt and shame. We all tend to carry around a certain amount of guilt and shame for ourselves. And this is natural and this is normal, but it's not helpful. I remember also when I was sick for all those years feeling really shameful, feeling really ashamed of myself for not being able to get out and do stuff and be productive. I also had a hard time keeping jobs, and I got let go from a lot of jobs because I was sick so often and not as productive as I knew I could be. And I just felt like there was so much more that, to me, that I wasn't able to tap into. And it was hard for me to sustain close relationships and so forth. And so that place of guilt and shame is not a place of personal power. It's not a place where you're loving and honoring and respecting yourself. And so there's a couple components of letting go of the guilt and shame. And the first one is to recognize that events are neutral. So events occur to us like they're good or bad or right or wrong. Something happens or we do something and we have judgment around it. We create a story around it. And this is not something that, this is something we naturally do, but it's not something that aids us in our personal power. And so really just recognizing that if you get fired from a job, you know, and I had several of those experiences, that this is not something that you can hold on to with shame. You know, this is something that you can choose as an opportunity. You can choose to grow from and learn from, and choose to let it be part of your life experience. And also just look at it as information. You know, that didn't work out for a reason. And that's information in terms of moving forward. If you, for instance, and I've dealt with this a lot, emotional eating. So eating something that isn't right for my body, that isn't going to feel good, and dealing with the repercussions. And instead of berating yourself, and this is something I've been practicing for years, and I work with my clients too, that berating yourself makes it 10 times worse than the actual event of eating something that isn't going to be helpful for your body or your health. And so just recognizing that the information is that that didn't work, that wasn't in my best interest. And with that information, armed with that information, you can make a different decision next time if you so choose. But removing the shame and the guilt. And then forgiveness, you know, just taking time to actually forgive yourself and acknowledge that you are doing the best you can. And I'm going to switch back to the slide so you can see my bullet points here. And forgiveness is just so powerful. It's so powerful to know that you don't need to hang on to something that isn't serving you, that you can actually just let it go and just be with acceptance. You know, forgiveness and acceptance go hand in hand. And so this goes back to taking in the information. Like I said, events are neutral, and they'll give you information and ideas to move forward. And becoming the observer in that, so that you're taking in the ideas and you're able to allow that in without judgment. The other thing about letting go of guilt and shame and reconnecting with your power is to stay in the present. Stay in the present, because when you are in the past or the future, you are actually not in your power. You are not in your full power, because we can't affect the past or the future. The only thing we can actually affect is this moment. What are you bringing to this moment? What energy are you bringing? What thoughts are you bringing? What behaviors, actions, beliefs, and perceptions are you bringing to this moment? And this moment is where your power lies. And so recognizing, again, without judgment, when you are moving into the past or the future, which you can't affect, you can build towards your future, you can't do anything about the past, and moving back into your present power, which is right now. So that's point number one in terms of reconnecting to your personal power. The second thing, and let me bring up the slides again, is to push your boundaries. So this is really important and something that I used to avoid. Oops, let's see here. For some reason, I am not, there we go. Okay. So I used to avoid doing anything that was outside of my comfort zone. I lived that way for many, many years and actually barely left the house, barely associated with new people. I was living a smaller and smaller life, and my soul was suffering. You know, just downright, my soul was absolutely suffering. And so the second way to reconnect with your personal power is to push your boundaries, is to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And that's what I started doing. And you can see here, there's rock climbing, skydiving, jetpacking, and trapezing. I've also done zip lining and paragliding and all sorts of other fun things that are really a chance for me to go beyond what I think is possible for myself and go beyond the limitations that we often place on ourselves. That's why I think a lot of people get into triathlons and marathons and running, because it's a chance to break out of that belief about yourself and prove that you are actually more than you thought you were. And it's about proving it to yourself, not necessarily other people. So, and then when I started my business, that has been the biggest way to push my boundaries. It's the biggest way I think anyone can push their boundaries, because you are all of a sudden doing it yourself. You don't have a regular paycheck. You don't have regular income. Everything comes back to you and what you're generating and what you're putting out there and what you're able to provide, you know, the service that you're able to provide to other people and help other people solve their problems. So being an entrepreneur has been a big way that I've pushed my boundaries, and I've chosen to do that on purpose, because I know that every time I do that, it pushes me forward. It changes my evolution and propels me forward. And so you can probably think of an instance in your life where you weren't sure if you could do something, you weren't sure if you were up for it, and you did. You took that first step and you made that first change that might have been difficult. This is why I work with nutrition with people a lot when they first come to me, and why people often do come to me. They say they want to lose weight. And so we change what they're eating, and they do lose weight, and it works really well. And I have that system down. But here's the thing, making a change, any change, is an entry point to seeing yourself differently and starting to really believe in yourself. And that's what pushing yourself comes down to, is believing in yourself, having confidence in yourself, and going beyond your comfort zone. Because I don't think any of us really want to live in this tiny little box that becomes our comfort zone, where there's nothing new or nothing beyond what we always do. I think as humans, our souls are asking for so much more, so much more. Our souls are asking for us to get in touch with something that lights us up and, you know, gives us our passion. So whether it's starting a business or being an entrepreneur or just doing something that you love doing, whether it's an extracurricular activity or something you do for work, but finding ways, taking those opportunities when they come up. When I was first approached to do public speaking, that was very intimidating for me. And I'll be honest, I still get nervous. I didn't sleep all that great last night, just kind of running through what I wanted to tell you guys today and not wanting to leave stuff out and forget stuff in the heat of the moment. And so this is something that I think is intimidating for a lot of people. And if you can just take every opportunity and in fact put yourself in a position to find those opportunities and take those opportunities and go beyond, even if it's just a little step, even if it's just baby steps, one of the things that I used to do, and this is kind of silly, but one of the things I used to do is when I was really sick, I was cold all the time. I had some thyroid and some hormone stuff going on in my hands and my feet, and most of my body, I was just cold all the time. And I live in Southern California where it's warm most of the time, and I was just still really cold. And so I would force myself to, after I did a hot shower, to turn on the cold water, even for just a few seconds, as cold as I could stand it, just to push myself. I also started going into the ocean, and I am really scared of deep water. Swimming pools are fine, but the ocean is quite intimidating to me. So doing these things on purpose, some things come more naturally to me, like the air sports and the rock climbing aren't really, I mean, it's a stretch, but not really that much, but the water sports for sure, and the public speaking for sure. So just take a moment and think about, how can you push yourself? How can you expand yourself? At least for the sake of your confidence and believing in yourself and recognizing how capable you are and connecting to your courage, because it is there and it is just waiting to be utilized. It is just waiting for this opportunity to get access, into your life and show you who you really are. And with that, everything can really change. So that's number 2, push your boundaries and take steps that you wouldn't normally do. Again, depending on who you are, it can be baby steps or it can be leaps and bounds, sign up for to do an event or to go skydiving or whatever it is. Okay, so let me switch back to the slides. And the third way that you can reconnect to your personal power is to listen inside. We all have this innate inner wisdom. Some people call it intuition, higher self, or just simply inner wisdom. And it's there and it's available to you. And I'm not saying don't look for resources outside. I'm saying take what you're learning and always run it by your filter. Always run it by your filter of what's true and right for you. What is your heart asking for? What is your soul asking for? Our mind is trying to keep us safe all the time. So just connecting to what's rational and logical is not necessarily what is in our best interest. That can factor in. But did you know that all decisions, and especially purchasing decisions, are made from an emotional place? It's not made from a logical, rational place. We actually don't need most of the things that we buy. We don't need to do all the activities we do. But we are doing it because something about that experience resonates with us. Something about having an iPhone or a Macintosh computer, having the Apple computer gives you an experience that you're looking for, where you don't actually need it. Any regular computer would be fine. So, so listening within and just taking the time, and that's why meditation has become so popular, I believe, is because it's not the meditation, it's the opportunity to get quiet and still and slow down in our busy world, and just slow down long enough to find out what is true for you, what is important to you. And I like to also say, there's a little girl or little boy inside of all of us, our inner child, and to connect also to that little person and check in. What do you need? What's going on for you? I'm here for you. and having that type of dialogue. And so often, and I bet you've experienced this too, is my mind is working on a problem and I'm trying to figure out how to do something. And if I just back off and become still and stop trying to turn it into something that I'm figuring out with my head, a lot of times I'll get the answers. And that's also why answers come to us in our dreams when our mind is effectively shut down. So this is really powerful, and it's part of the primary relationship. The primary relationship is the relationship you have with yourself that supersedes any other relationships that we have. So, and then it goes back to honoring your truth, which helps to create that and strengthen that primary relationship and that love that you have for yourself. People talk about self-love all the time, but how do you get to the place where you love yourself more, where you love being you and you're just excited to wake up and find yourself in your life? And one of the ways to do that is by honoring yourself, by listening to that voice inside, listening to that inner intuition and connecting to it at least on a daily basis, if not multiple times. It's like an open system, you know, and where you're listening and hearing and guidance and getting that back and forth all day long. So that's something, that's like a skill that you can cultivate, just like you can become better at a sport or different things like that. It's the same type of thing. The more you do it, the better you will become at it. And so the whole idea of personal power has everything to do with recognizing that you are creating, you are the one who gets to determine your experience of life. You're the one that gets to determine your attitudes and how you approach life and what you're bringing to life instead of looking for it externally. And I'll be honest, you know, I have spent a lot of my life, and I still revert back sometimes, to looking for that validation and that approval and that attention externally. You know, looking to prove something and this, look, this is what I've done and these are my credentials and so forth. But actually, real power comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for, and being able to go inside to get that validation and that approval and give yourself what you need first, rather than looking for it externally, and that's personal power. Okay, so I ran through those pretty quickly, and let me switch back to the slides. So what to do with this information? This is all great theory and, you know, good information. Hopefully it'll impact your life in some way. What to do next is to take action and figure out what is your strategy, and make any decisions that need to be made and get support, you know, and then utilize these 3 steps. I'm going to make this PowerPoint presentation available to you after this call, in case you want to refer back to it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So this is part of what I will be helping people with in my new program that is starting next week. I'm really excited about it. It's my first program that is not having to do directly with health. So I've done a lot of programs with cleanses and of course worked one-on-one with lots and lots of people and had amazing successes. And so the Goddess Power program, which is just for women, this program, and it's really about going beyond just the health stuff. There is a module where we'll talk about wellness. So we're going to talk about wisdom, wellness, love, abundance, power, and ecstasy in the 6 weeks. So each week we'll have a theme. And I'm really excited because it's an opportunity for you to really focus on what you want within each of those segments and what you want for your life and what's important to you. I have a client who is a newer client who's just been working with me for a couple of weeks. And on our third session, she actually told me that for the first time in her adult life, and she's in her early 40s now, she's able to leave the house on her own. For all of this time, she would go only with her family. She got married at a young age and has children, and would only leave the house with some of her family members or her friends, and even for grocery shopping and errands and so forth. And so working with me, by the third week, she was able to tell me, I went to run some errands by myself. I got groceries by myself, and I even talked to a few people, and it was a big step for her. So breakthroughs happen in all different areas. It's not just, I have to change my diet. There's all different ways to create this personal power for yourself. And this is what I want for you. This is what I'm really, really passionate about. This is why I'm here, is to give you this value and give you this support and give you this guidance. This is what is really important and really drives me in the work that I do, because I know how powerful it is. I know how powerful it is to work with a mentor and someone who has been there and who can keep you focused and keep you accountable and guide you through anything that's coming up. I was actually speaking with my business coach last night, and bless her heart, I was feeling, kind of nervous and, excited, but also nervous about today. And this is the first time I've used Google Hangouts, other than I've been interviewed and other people have set it up, but this is the first time that I've been the organizer. So also talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone and pushing the boundaries, number 2. So she was helping me with some of the technology, and we were practicing, and, she really helped me change my state. State is something that we all have control over. And state is something that seems very whimsical, kind of like inspiration. Like if you're a writer, I'll write when I feel inspired. Write, and then you'll become inspired. Do it, and then, the feeling will come rather than waiting for the feeling. So working with a mentor, her and the other people that I've been working with these past years has really been just completely transformative, completely life-changing. And I want that for you too. So let me go back to the slide. So Goddess Power starts next week, and it's just going to be a small group of women who know that they want more for their lives. They know that the experience they're currently having could be better, and it's time to shift that. It's time for them to step into their power, and I will be there to help guide you through that and help bring you to where you want to. You'll have to meet me halfway, but I will definitely do what I've done for my private clients in a way that is a lot more affordable. So I just wanted to share a couple of testimonials. And while you are reading these, I am going to turn on some music, because music is a great way to change your state. So let me take a breath and get some water while you're reading. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I have music like this on, I'm like dancing. Okay. So just feeling a little silly. So now I'm going to take questions, and there should be a place that you can ask questions on the chat, and I should be able to see that. If you have any questions or any comments on the webinar, I wanted to make it, like I said, short and sweet. Turn that off. And just give you some valuable tips. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, we're going to go much, much deeper in the program, and but I really just wanted to give value to everyone today, whether or not you are able to take the program, and obviously all of you can't join. But thank you so much for joining me today and taking time out of your day. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please be sure to put those into the chat right now. And you can also always email me at Marcie at the Health and Happiness Guide. Let me put that slide up so you have that. So there it is, Marcie at the Health and Happiness Guide. That's always a way that you can reach me. And I try to respond to every email that I get. And a lot of people write me almost on a daily basis and share their stories, and I really appreciate that. It's the first step in healing is to actually reach out and speak your truth and own your truth, and then make, you know, those behaviors and those changes that can help take you where you want to go. So once again, to summarize, and I'm just going to go back and summarize what those 3 steps are. So number 1, let go of guilt and shame. Number 2, push yourself, go beyond what you think you're capable of. And then number 3 was to listen within. And like I said, if you want a copy of the presentation, the PDF, I'm happy to send that to you. Just email me or respond to one of the emails from me, and I'll get that over to you. Okay, well, it looks like I don't see any questions unless I'm not using this forum correctly. Like I said, it's my first time on Google Hangouts, which I think is pretty awesome in terms of, let me know what you think, but in terms of having the video and having the slides and all of that. So I am so thankful that you joined me today. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, and connect with me anytime. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye.